Welcome to Uncommon Courtesy.
Where we give you the courtesy of conversation.
That's uncommonly spoke of.
I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And this is the show. So Teflon Don.
Teflon Don.
Back in business. So it says now Trump is cracking down, asking campaigns to give him 5% cut of any money they raise that way. Beginning tomorrow, we asked,
move on the block.
Right? He said, beginning tomorrow, we asked all the candidates and committees who choose to use President Trump's name, image, and likeness, split a minimum of 5% of all fundraising solicitations to the Trump National Committee, JFC. The Trump campaign wrote in a letter to GOP vendors this week, according to Political.
That's crazy. He said anybody.
I need that 5%.
And then, I mean, we have to really look at this from this perspective right here. That tells you exactly how he feels about the political process. He's saying basically pay me to even talk about me. Most people who want to be president understand that if they have a House and they have the Senate, that means you can have your agenda can be passed. That means you should want people. You should go. Most presidents go and stump for other candidates as well. Especially he's already been president. They would go stump for other candidates because they want to have a majority in the Senate, a majority in the House. So then whatever you want passed can get passed because that becomes like your legacy. But he's telling you, you know what? It's about the money to me. Especially, I understand he's going through a lot of financial hardships, but people go through financial hardships.
Oh, he's getting prosecuted a lot.
It's a part of it. He's also using the Republicans committee's campaign contributions for his own personal everything that he's being.
Yeah, no, he took over the whole committee after he got the nomination.
But he's also using it as a kitty to pay his legal bills.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what is he talking about? This is crazy to me that he's
5%. I mean, think about it, man. If you go into like rural areas, you throw out Trump's name, say, hey, we're doing this, and Trump might be there, the people going to show up. You know, he knows his name, his brand has power. And these days it's all about your brand.
Obama's brand had power too. He did, but he went out and he stumped. He wasn't asked for 5%.
Well, you know, Democrats try to follow the rules and it just seems to backfire in their face all the time. At least he's going to do it. There ain't nobody going to stop him. I want my 5%. I mean, he said minimum 5%.
Minimum 5%.
Give me my money.
That's like a mob boss. That's what
you put my name on the flyer, they're going to show up.
But even if they talk about me, even if you say that I'm aligned with President Trump, who's running for presidency, I'm aligned with his vision for this country.
He's like, sweet. Now I got 5 on it. Crazy, give me my money.
This is unheard of. This is probably what's going to become the norm for people going forward. Maybe not because he's an unusual kind of candidate. Not saying just in who he is, but kind of how his candidacy has sparked like almost like a Jim Jones type of following.
Yeah,
people who are willing to pretty much do anything for Trump. So it makes sense.
And they also said any vendor whose client ignores the guidelines mentioned above will be held responsible for their client's actions, reads the letter. Repeated violations will result in suspension of business relationships between the vendor and the Trump National Committee, JFC.
Hey, didn't he just, I think they just had 12 jurors were selected for his trial that he's,
it's criminal trial for the hush money.
For the hush money right now. I think they said that they're looking for the 6 alternates right now. So that's
crazy. I'd be damned. You got to go to court because of some hush pussy.
He called it whatever he called it, but I understand.
I'm gonna call it what it is. You sleeping with porn stars, they're expensive.
And he only had to give her $130,000, but look what it's costing him right now. This is crazy.
Yeah, millions. You know
man.
what I'm saying? I think like for him, it's like the best and worst thing he ever did was run for president. He loved the power, but all the stuff that came with it. Now he's trying to get himself out of everything.
Yeah, they really attacked him. I mean,
think about
put himself in situations and stuff like that too, but they really have gone after him in a heavy way.
Do you feel he still would have ran for president if he wasn't facing all this legal action?
I think that this legal action is what really got him. Where I mean, this is I think him running for president is what got all these legal actions on him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I think him being president because he's committed crimes while he was president.
No, I mean, that's before. Yeah. I'm talking about like right now, like why he ran again. Are you talking about the beginning, the first presidency? Or
the second one? The second one.
I think he understood. He was pretty much trying to protect himself from whatever else was going on. He also, I think he made a lot of money being president the first time. I think he understood the power it gave him. He understood what he could get done. And the person probably told him, hey, you get in there one more time, we know what to do.
Never let you leave.
I mean, even if he never let him leave, or just rule differently, he's going to rule differently this time.
Yeah,
last time
he's going to rule off revenge. It's going to be
bigger than that. He's going to understand. This person said that one of his former aides, who's against him right now, said she was like that he knows how to run government this time. Last time he had a lot of people in there who backs, oh, don't do this, don't do that, trying to stop him from doing things. But now he understands it. That's why he went in and got rid of everybody in the Republican National Committee. He got rid of all of them. He understands what to do and how to get things done a lot more.
Yeah, he's putting all his people in place. Yeah,
off top from the beginning. He's going to put together people in place who are going to be subordinate to him up the line.
Yeah,
no matter what. No one's in that office is going to be, don't do this, or
they're not going to question him. They're not going to.
It's a wrap.
Yeah,
it's a wrap. That's what it's going to be. So I don't, it is what it is, man. That's kind of how I see it right now.
Like, I want my money, 5%, baby.
Students at
TRUMP. That's 5.
They say students at Columbia University have been suspended from school due to anti-Zionist protests. Also, the president of Columbia University sat in front of a House panel and was bombarded with questions about anti-Israeli protests. She was asked, "Were you aware of any anti-Israel protests?" She responded, "No." Then she was asked, "Did you hear people say die Israel and death to Israel?" And she said, yes. So you did hear anti-Israel protest. And they kind of try to catch her in a gotcha moment, but it really didn't make sense to me. I'm like, just because a few people say a certain thing doesn't make the whole protest about that.
Well, the whole thing is like, they even the way they word some of these articles, they'd be like, oh, it's a pro-Hamas protest. And I'm like, no one's rooting for Hamas. Yeah. They want you to stop killing women and children and raping and beating them.
Raping and beating them. It's the same thing. We're hearing about it all over the place. The Israeli, the people in the Israeli military, people on the from the Israeli police force, they've been asked. I mean, the State Department has stepped forward and asked Biden and his whole entire his whole entire staff to basically stop funding for certain Israeli military departments and certain Israeli police departments because they're being accused of rape and torture to Palestinians. Also, the UN has come out and also said that Israeli military has been basically keeping UN peacekeepers and torturing them and threatening them to try and figure out what their relations are to Hamas. These are UN peacekeepers.
Yeah.
And you're grabbing these guys.
If you're getting away with everything else you're doing, why wouldn't you just keep going? And see, this is going to affect Joe Biden's presidential campaign because this is on the ticket.
Yeah.
Like, are we going to elect him so he can continue to let genocide happen in another country as we watched it? And we know how genocide happens here in America, and the protests aren't going to stop. And they've been trying to shut him down. I think it was Harvard.
Yep. They did the same thing in the Harvard University. I believe
France said you can protest against the Israelis.
They got, I think it was either Harvard or Yale. I can't remember.
It was one of the two.
Harvard,
yeah.
The president of Harvard was fired. I think also the president of either Pennsylvania University or Pitt's, one of those universities over there from Pennsylvania was also fired too. I think it was Pitt's president was fired as well.
And now people are catching on. They're like, okay, we see what it is. And this is America. We have free speech. So why are you trying to shut down my free speech?
This is going on all over the United States. It's happening over and over again. We spoke about the valedictorian at USC.
Yeah.
They every single college that we know of, that most colleges had the valedictorian speak at the commencement. That's his commencement speech. And that's normal. This is what people do. This is how you reward the best of the best. This is how you reward that time they put in to become the person who they are. This happens in high school. People do that they do that in high school as well. They basically told her, because there's anti hate speech going on against you, we don't want to let you speak. That that should be for everybody. There's always going to be someone who speaks out against it.
People don't understand. Like right now, they're taking away your freedom of speech. It's in the Constitution. And right now, if you can't, when it's Russia and Ukraine, they don't care which side you're on. You can be, hey, I'm pro-Russian, I'm pro-Ukraine. People are like, hey, you have your right to freedom of speech. But when it comes to this certain conflict, you can only support one side, or else you're a terrorist and you're evil. That's what they're taking away your freedom of speech, people.
And it's happening over and over. They said that also Israel, this is not me changing the subject. We're going to stay on the same exact subject, but Israel has attacked the city of Rafah, which Biden just here recently called a red line. They attacked the city of Rafah, killing 11 and at least 5 children. This is ahead of a potential ground incursion into the area. There have been reports of possible a deal between the White House and Netanyahu's government that will call for allowance of attacks on Rafah, ground troops to go into Rafah, which was at one point a red line area, which will huge amounts of refugees are in Rafah right now. So if they allow a ground incursion, we can at least probably almost double the amount of murders that's gone on thus far. But the deal with to say, okay, you can go into Rafah, but you can't attack Iran. That's what the deal is. That to me sounds like blackmail, because we've already why are we giving you a deal for something that you started?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's also weird to me too. It's like, they have at least 50 people have killed themselves after surviving the Nova Festival attack. And that's what sparked the whole thing, right? And that's a pretty large number. And assault 50 people. The survivors killed themselves. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Why would 50 people just commit suicide?
Yeah.
50 people.
That's a lot.
Not 52, not 53. 50 people. That's a lot of people just to think it was too harsh for me to see what I saw. I have to kill myself.
And what they would say is like, depending upon what the mental status of the people were, who they were there with, who they saw die, you know what I mean? Like, that's what they would probably use as a reasoning behind that, but that doesn't mean that reasoning is solid.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people.
That's a lot of people just to up and just have committed suicide so far.
That's huge. That's a huge amount of people.
They may have seen something they weren't supposed to see, but that's a lot of people for you not to question it.
Yeah. And also, the House of Representatives right now is in kind of a roar right now with Representative Johnson. They're calling for his job because he's pushing
he's governing.
He's doing exactly what he was put in office to do. And it's just crazy because a lot of his conference, the Republican Party, was that Getz or whatever, Matt Getz or whatever his name is.
Matt Gaetz?
Yeah.
It's the one that likes to date underage girls.
He looks like Beavis from Beavis and like one of those. Yeah. If you really look at him, he kind of looks like one of those. But anyway, him, Marjorie Taylor Greene, a bunch of other people from that kind of that. I think it's the Freedom Caucus or whatever they call themselves. They're threatening
the treasonous ones.
If he puts, even Donaldson, even Byron Donaldson, the rep from Florida, he's one of the 4 black Republican congressmen. So he even came out. He's against, he's not for overthrowing Johnson at just yet, but he's like, hey, this deal's a bad deal. Basically, the deal that they have on the table is they're going to be giving about I think it's like probably it's close to $100, I think it's $60 billion to Ukraine, $26 billion to Israel, and $8 billion to the Indo-Pacific. So it's a huge aid bill, but he's breaking them up into 3 different parts.
Hey, that's cool, man. As long as the American workers don't get $20 an hour. As long as you don't get free health care, these other countries will be taken care of.
We have to look at it from my stance on this. It's broader than that. You got to be able to chew gum and walk at the same time.
Yeah, you got to be able to still have teeth to chew the gum. And you got to have your legs to still work at the end of the day for you to be able to walk and chew gum. We are the United States of America, so we do have a responsibility. We've created that responsibility, and that responsibility has given us our wealth. We gotta not forget that. The reason why things flow so freely to this country is because we control certain things. You said wealth for who?
Wealth grows different for everybody. I guarantee the
because McDonald's is selling chicken sandwiches for $10.
How much money people have made per year has gone up. I remember at one point in time,
yes, it has gone up. But how much money are they taxing you and taking from you now?
This is not me agreeing with the system that's in place.
Cream cheese is $6.
If we're at the top of the ticket, we have the highest GDP of any country in the entire world. We are a superpower. This is. I'm not saying this is the best system in the world. It's not. There's other systems out there, but they don't have the security that we have.
But also, my car insurance done tripled. I never had an accident. Where's the money going?
I don't know.
Where's the money going, folks?
You
know where it's going? Ukraine, Israel, China. Oh, excuse me, Taiwan. That's where your money's going. That's why they're taxing you so much. That's why you got to shop around the grocery stores and use coupons these days. So that's why you got to work through 2 to 3 jobs.
Was it going there 2-3 years ago when this was still happening?
They even trying to tax the Cash App money.
This wasn't happening 3 years ago. We didn't have these situations go on then, and these things were still happening.
No, we was coming fresh out the Obama administration. We was living good. We had a good life.
We had Trump there too, and Trump, people
don't realize this. The first 2 years of any president, you're still dealing with the stuff the last president did.
Like we talked about.
So you can give it up to Trump like, oh yeah, the economy was running fine, but 3 years into his presidency, we was in the shitter.
No, I get that, but like I said, I give him the stock market. I think the stock market jumped the way it did because of him, due to some things that the positive that he did do.
That's for business owners like yourself, sir. I'm a regular citizen. I'm middle America. You know what's crazy? I got to the point where I was probably a middle American making money, and they taxed my check so much I couldn't even work. I made more money working less hours. because the tax was so bad. So you can talk about stocks, but not all of us play the stock market. We go to work, we do our jobs. We want to make sure we have enough money to be able to pay for our stuff. It's crazy. We're not even working to make gains anymore. We're working to maintain the stuff we already have.
You know who use that as a marker? I mean, people who, before that never mattered.
Zelensky?
The American citizens, a whole entire, the Republican Party, not even the ones who are the part of the 1%, the rest of them. Look at the stock market. You're not happy with your 401k. It was a big thing being talked about when Trump was in office because everyone's 401k jumped. I got members of my family who are telling me, hey, my 401k is off the hook right now. I can't really be against this man. He's doing what he's got to do. And that was the reasoning. And you have to look at, people do have to have their own potential, their own particular reasons to why things are going on. So at the end of the day, they were using that. And now it's all of a sudden that doesn't matter. Who cares about that? I've always said that should never be used as a barometer for the economy as a whole. But at the same time, if business owners are doing decent, not at all times. I don't believe in trickle down economics, but it does beget more jobs. More
low paying jobs because they don't want to pay you what you're worth.
An employee is probably not going to, I want to think about this even further, but I'm going to say it. It's probably not going to create a new job. You know what I mean?
It costs more. It costs more money to train a new person to come work there than it will cost you to give a person a couple more dollars a raise.
But you cannot increase productivity with just one person. Productivity matters. I mean, you feel what I'm saying?
Unless they're a good employee.
You're not still one employee is still not going to become 3. It's not going to happen.
And these days, you got to make sure that you're not losing your job to a robot.
That's where it's going to go. I mean, it is what it is. This is what's going to happen. This is why we have to come up with a better economy. The economy that we have right now and the way we do business, capitalism is led to this. And I mean, life was going to lead to this regardless, but capitalism's led to this and it's going to lead us to automation. Automation is going to take everybody's job. It's part of life. This is what it is. You know what I mean? They're going to have to, I think that's when they're going to come up with a minimum kind of it's not a minimum wage, but it's like a standard of living. Like here we're going to pay everyone X amount of dollars just to exist. They're going to have to, or people are going to rebel when your job's gone.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the price of everything's going up. I ain't paying $20 for Netflix.
So another thing, heavy rains and lightning have killed at least 50 people. Authorities have reported the same amount of deaths as monsoon-like weather events are worsening. They call it monsoons on steroids. This is going on in Kazakhstan and Russia as well. I mean, forcing more than 125 people to evacuate because of flooding.
And Dubai. Dubai's flooding also.
I think either in Qatar or Bahrain, it's the same thing. They had the amount of rain that fell in one day is the amount they get for a whole entire year. It looked like an ocean. I'm watching. This isn't just to say they have this going on, but I saw a thing where, I saw cars floating in the streets first and foremost. Let's start there. They got beautiful cities in Bahrain.
I mean, we had the same thing happening in Southern California. They were flooding down there. Pete, you may not believe in climate change, but it's going to believe in you.
It's happening right now at a rapid pace all over the world. And in Kenya, same exact thing. There's massive flooding going on. Places that normally don't flood, these are deserts. We understand that when it does rain, it's going to flood. Look at Vegas. When I remember down in Vegas, when I used to go down in Vegas, if it rained heavy and it would just flood because the ground is so hard, it can't.
You can't soak it up. Yeah.
The water, but this is happening. Like I heard some reports that it was because they have a weather machine over in the Middle East that they use a lot to kind of like maybe put up like clouds so it blocks off a little bit from how much sun. Yeah, and they said this might have been part of the cause of it. It's just what I heard. Doesn't mean it's true. I just heard that from the couple.
No, I remember China was having a weather machine because I know they made China was making an artificial sun also.
That's great. I don't know how that works. I'm like, you make an artificial sun, bro. How'd that work?
I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but they were making one.
I heard about it too.
You know what I'm saying?
But this is going on all over the world right now. We're having some huge, weather events going on. They said in the U.S., the National Ocean and Atmospheric Administration, NOAA, confirms the world's 4th bleaching event is underway due to global warming. 54 countries and territories since February 2023. It's going on across multiple different countries. It's basically where the ocean's floor starts turning white. I'm watching
it's the coral reefs. The coral reefs they heat up. So the coral reefs are right at where the waves crash, or where the waves are starting to build up on the right before they get to the beaches where the coral reef is. And so they set at a certain temperature, and there's a lot of aquatic life that lives there. Now, because the oceans are heating up, it bleaches all that, so it kills everything that's there, and the coral reef turns white. Now, most of it, the Australian, the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, I think about 60% of that is already gone because of bleaching. And it's it's just going to get worse because there are more ice caps on are melting.
That's what global warming. People don't understand. Like, oh, it's getting really cold in here. This is what's going on over here. Well, that's what happens. You're going to get more snow when there's more water and there's more like in the world, basically from ice caps melting. You're going to have harsher winters and much harsher.
Well, people see they walk outside and say, I don't see any global warming because it's not happening in front of your face right then and there. They think because, oh, it's snowing, it's raining, there's no global warming. Well, when the rain pours down to the point where your city's underwater, that's global warming.
You know what I've seen here? I've seen a lot more snow happening in our area right now. It's because there's obviously a lot more water being pushed out. You know, that's what's going on. I've seen a lot hotter weathers during the summer. I've seen we've had multiple 100-degree summers.
Well, think about it. Here in Washington, most of the summers are covered by wildfire smoke.
Yeah, now that's what's been going on for
about the last 4 or 5 years. I think we had 1 year, and that was the COVID year, where there was no smoke because there was no bunch of humans outside. People don't understand. California is underwater. The Middle East is underwater, parts of it. You know what I'm saying? You're having wild tornadoes. You're having hurricanes that are coming in being F5s.
I mean, you got the coral reef. I mean, you got
Category 5, excuse me. Yeah.
Dying off. If we don't believe in global, I mean, it's not even, forget the word global warming. Just, I mean, climate change. And it's I believe a lot of it's man-made. It's happening too rapidly. We act like we don't understand. We're a blip in time. This is what we are. We're only a small little minute means nothing moment of time. It seems like a long time because you're here right now, but trust me, it's
and nothing. The earth will heal itself. We'll just be gone.
I mean, we watched the earth start healing itself when we went in during COVID.
Yep.
We watched it. You know what I mean? So
the animals came back to the shores. The ozone layer started correcting itself, and humans were like, not on my watch.
Let's tear it down again. What happened in
burn that coal?
And then what happened in the NBA?
In the NBA, let me look him up. There was a player. Hold on. His name is NBA player, a Toronto Raptor player, Jonte Porter, has a lifetime ban from the NBA.
Like Pete Rose.
Yep, like Pete Rose, which is pretty cool. The investigation by the league found that Jonte Porter of the Toronto Raptors had wagered on basketball games and liaison with at least one bettor to fix his own performance. According to a statement by the league on Wednesday, Porter disclosed confidential information about his own health, limited his participation in a game on March 20th. The same day, an acquaintance of Porter's placed an $80,000 wager that he would underperform in that game. So what he did is he played for about a couple minutes and he got out the game. So for the underperformer, they made hella money on it. And the thing to me is like this. A lifetime ban is ridiculous, first of all.
That's ridiculous.
Maybe give him 2 years and then make him go to counseling for gambling because people have a gambling addiction.
This is what the sport has brought to itself. They knew when they went to Vegas. They understood when they started. You never saw come in the sports bet. We never even talked about gambling and sports at the same time. This is just a new thing that occurred over the last couple of years. Now you got everyone's parlaying, doing everything else. They brought that in. What did they expect was going to happen? It's like waving a bunch of money. I understand they're already making a lot of money, but this is human nature.
But the players are saying they're complaining already because the people are in the stands screaming at them like, yo, you're messing up my bet. You need to play under, play slower. You need to play more points. They're screaming at them. It's giving them anxiety.
And pretty soon, man, something bad may end up happening.
And it's the NBA playoffs, man. That's the only time I take time off. But this is important. I love the NBA playoffs. I tell my kids, I'm like, yo, what does it mean the playoffs are on? What does that mean? They say leave you alone.
Yeah, man. Sports are a huge part of our everyday lives.
It keeps us all calm.
And I feel horrible for Porter for what's going on with him. That's a bad decision he made.
They're making an example out of him. They want to keep the integrity of the game. You want to keep the integrity of the game? Stop letting people bet on it.
Absolutely. I think they're not going to stop, man. Went to Vegas, and now Vegas is going to have every single sports team. They already got a football team. I think they got a basketball team. Going to be not yet. They got a football team and a baseball.
They're working on an expansion team to bring a team to Vegas and back to Seattle.
It's crazy, man.
They're saying Vegas might get one before Seattle, which is trash, but
it happens.
As long as OKC don't win a championship, I don't care. Sonics for life.
So yeah.
Well, man, that's our show. Let us know what you think. Write in the comments. Like, subscribe, follow. If you have a topic that we haven't seen or discussed and you want to talk about it, let us know in the comments. Once again, this is Uncommon Courtesy. I'm D-Mac.
I'm Wesley.
And that's the show.